For months now, it seems like every week we see another viral video just like these of people behaving poorly on airline flights. There's folks getting kicked off flights for not wearing a mask, or they're getting into fights, physically brawling with other passengers like you see there. Well, now the FAA chief has signed a zero-tolerance order. They're no longer negotiating or issuing warning letters. They're going to go straight to enforcement for disruptive behavior. So what's the worst that could happen? Well, unruly passengers could face fines of up to $35,000, possible jail time. I have a pretty strong take on this one. What do you think, Al?
Absolutely, because this isn't happening on a city bus where you can pull over and open the doors. This is happening at 33,000 feet, guys. This is people's lives. This could cause a panic. Somebody could try and open the door. This could jeopardize everybody. And the arrogance that people feel to be throwing punches and yelling things. Look, I know it's a major source of revenue, but we need to factor in the alcohol consumption at the airport and in the middle of the air, which also affects you.
I'm actually really sorry. I got to jump in here because I disagree with Al. I am all for having zero tolerance when it comes to that type of unruly behavior. Not wearing masks, you're endangering your fellow passengers' lives, getting into a brawl, et cetera, et cetera. But we've also seen an abuse of flight attendants, okay? Not saying all of them. There are a lot of incredible, amazing flight attendants out there. But we've also seen certain individuals who weren't doing anything that warranted the behavior that was done upon them by flight attendants and by law enforcement. The power of a flight attendant can be very scary if they have some sort of ego. I'm not saying all of them.
Or
I'm saying,
agenda.
let's say there's one. Let's say there is one, okay, out of the hundreds of thousands of flight attendants out there, and they have an agenda, or they have an ego, or they're having a bad day, and they get into it with you and your child, and they just immediately are going to pull that power card. Boom, zero tolerance, no consideration, no two sides to the story. Al and his son are then in trouble. You're locked up, $35,000 fine. I think it's a lot of power to give one individual, and I want to see some checks and balances. I want to hold people accountable, Jeff, but this to me seems like a very dangerous, slippery slope. What do you think, Jeff?
Listen, there's consequences to your actions. I don't think a flight attendant is going up to somebody who's not doing anything and just going to ruin their lives and they can't fly anymore.
There's been incidents.
There's always some sort of action.
There's been incidents, though.
What?
We've seen incidents with passengers that have done things that have not warranted the abuse that they have. There was a woman breastfeeding at the back of a flight. And again, I'm not saying all flight attendants, but one flight attendant took offense to it, told her to cover up. The woman wouldn't cover up because she was feeding her child. Then that woman got kicked off the flight. Can you imagine if that flight attendant had power? I'm just saying we need to look at those incidents too. Sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
No, that's it. There's actions to your consequences. We're just soft as a country, and people need to abide by the rules. Everybody's a victim nowadays. Start following the rules.
I don't know. I think it's more nuanced than that. If I was feeding my 2-year-old in the back of a plane and someone told me to cover up and I'm doing the best I can, I don't want everybody to see my breast. I'm not trying to show off my breast. And a flight attendant found it gross, and then we got into some sort of an altercation. I don't think I should be faced with a $35,000 fine.
Of a problem, though, Sam, than people getting on a flight hammered. If you've ever gone from anywhere to Vegas or Vegas anywhere back, as I know you have, you know what's going on those flights.
But there needs to be some sort of nuance in that zero tolerance policy, because let me tell you, there will be victims of that.
That's right.
Not everybody's going to be able to enforce that zero tolerance policy with absolutely no sort of bias, no sort of prejudice. That's when prejudice comes out.
That's right.
So
a lot of power to give somebody.
Yeah, it's a good conversation, to say the least. Please chime in, DBL Nation. If you disagree with me, A-OK.